Hi guys, welcome back to the session. I'm audible to all of you. Hello, I'm audible.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, sharing my screen. So in the last class, we were discussing about the status codes. In that, we discussed about till 300 series status codes. Those are all redirectional messages. Okay, so now whatever the status codes we have from 400 to 401, whatever the status codes we have from 400 to say 499. 400 to 499, we call it as client error message. There is a problem from your end, there is a problem from your laptop or from your request. These are all we call it as client error. You can take down heading. Client error responses. Under that first one, 400, bad request. 400 means bad request. Continuation. The server cannot process this request. 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 The server cannot process this request due to something is wrong from the client side. Due to something is wrong from the client side. Something is wrong from the client side. It might be an invalid request. It might be an invalid request message. Right? It might be an invalid request message. It might be an invalid request message. Or there might be a malformed request syntaxes. Malformed, or some of the syntax might be wrong or might be copy pasted. Malformed request syntax, etc. So that's why we are getting 400. This is a problem from not from the server side, problem from your side. Whatever you are getting 400, 401, 402, 403, all these problems are coming from your side, not from the server side. Sometimes you'll not even have an internet. That time also you'll get a problem. So first one is 400, bad request is over. Second one, 401. 401. Unauthorized. 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 401. Unauthorized. Means whenever user is trying to log in with invalid credentials, whenever user is trying to log in with invalid credentials, whenever user is trying to log in with invalid credentials, that time we will get a message as unauthorized. You will get a message as unauthorized. Because here client should authenticate themselves. Here client must authenticate themselves. Here client must authenticate themselves. Here client must authenticate themselves to get the requested response. To get the requested response. To get the requested response. Okay, so then next 402. Payment required. 402. Payment required. Most of the time, whenever we are working with a payment gateway system, most of the time, whenever working with the payment gateway system, we will be using this 402 status code. We will be using 402 status codes. We will be using 402 status code to reserve for future purpose. 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 Next, 403. 403. 403. Forbidden. 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 403. Forbidden. Forbidden. The client does not have access rights to the content. When the client does not have access rights to the content, when the client does not have access rights to the content, when client is not having access rights to the content, it is unauthorized. It is unauthorized. So the server is refusing it to. So server is refusing to give the requested resource. Means you are trying to ask something. Means whenever you try to download the recording, that option is not available to you because you don't have access rights. You will not be able to download. In the same way here, when the client does not have access rights to the content, you can only watch, you cannot download. It's kind of unauthorized when you're trying to download. So, but still you want to try to download. That time, the server is refusing to give the requested resource. It is not giving you the requested response. Like you'll not be able to download. The server is refusing to give the requested resource. Requested resource. Full stop. It is unlike. Full stop and continue. It is unlike UNLIK. It is unlike 401 unauthorized. It is unlike 401 unauthorized. It is unlike 401 unauthorized status code. Because the client's identity is known to the server in this case. Because the client's identity is known to the server in this case. Because the client's identity is known to the server in this case. The client's identity is known to the server in this case. Client's identity is known to the server in this case. Okay, so now if you in the interview they'll ask, can you please tell me what is the difference between 401 and 403? So if you look at the answer, can anyone try to figure it out? What is the difference? Anybody want to try? Point number one, 401 stands for
Unauthorized.
403 stands for 401 stands for unauthorized. 403 stands for
Middle.
okay.
The
Second
client
point.
does not have a.
Second point, I'll tell you. Okay. In this case, server is not knowing about your username and password. In this case, you are trying to enter and authenticate yourself. In 401, server is not knowing about user identity because you have to authenticate yourself by entering a valid username, valid password. Then only server will know about your details. But in case of this 403, the server is know about your details. Okay, Kavya has already logged in. So the server is knowing the details of Kavya, but she has a limited access. She can only access the video. She can only view the video. She cannot download. So that is forbidden. Like there are some limited access we have. I hope all of you got a difference. 401 is unauthorized, 403 is forbidden. In case of 401, the server will not be knowing the user identity. User has to authenticate himself to get the requested resource. But in case of 403, the user identity server will be knowing, but when he is trying to access the required content, so he will not be having the access rights to that particular content. So that time server is refusing it to give the requested resource. Now you make a difference. Radar, what is the difference between 401 and 403? In the interview they'll ask this question. What is the difference between 401 and 403? What is the difference between 401 and 403? 401 stands for point number one. 401 stands for unauthorized. 403 stands for forbidden. 401 stands for unauthorized. 403 stands for forbidden. The next second point. In case of 401, the server will not be knowing the identity of the user. In case of 401, the server will not be knowing the server will not be knowing the user identity. User has to authenticate himself. User has to authenticate himself to get the requested resource. to get the in order to get the requested resource. In order to get the requested resource. Requested resource. Next, another point in the forbidden. In case of 403, server will be knowing the user identity. The 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 server will be knowing the user identity. But he will be having a limited access to the required content. But he will be having a limited access to the required content. Can anyone repeat once again whatever I gave for 403? Quick. Anyone repeat?
In case of 403, the server will be knowing the user identity, but he will be having the limited access to the required content.
Limited access to the required content. Full stop. When he's trying to access the limited access content, when he or she is trying to access the when he or she is trying to access the limited access content, when he or she is trying to access the limited access content, that time server is refusing to give the requested resource. That time server is refusing to give the requested resource. That time server is refusing to give the requested resource. That time server is refusing to give the requested resource. Okay. So this is about 401 and 403. They might ask you in the interview. Next, 404. Not found. Not found. The server is not able to find the requested resource. The server is not able to find the requested resource. The server is not able to find the requested resource. The server is not able to find the requested resource. In the browser, the server is not able to find the requested resource, full stop. Which means, okay, wait. The server is not able to find the requested resource, full stop. Full stop. When we enter the URL of the requested resource, the server is not able to recognize. The server is not able to recognize. The server is not able to recognize. Server is not able to recognize. That time, we will get a status code as 404 not found. That time we will get the status code as 404 not found. That time we will get a status code as 404 not found. Okay, next 500 series. So whatever status code we are getting from 500 to 599, these are all related to server side error. Server error responses. Heading server error responses. Under that, write on 500. Means internal server error. Internal server error. 500 means internal server error. Internal server error. The server has answer. The server has encountered the situation. The server has encountered the situation. The server has encountered the situation. ENCOUNTERAD. The server has encountered the situation, or it is into this situation. That is the meaning. The server has encountered a situation. It doesn't know how to handle the request. It doesn't know how to handle the request. It doesn't know how to handle the request. Doesn't know how to handle the request. Doesn't know how to handle the request. So we will get a status code as 500. So we will get a status code as 500. Next, 501. 501. Not implemented. 501. Not implemented. Not implemented. Just a second. Not implemented, which means the requested method is not supported by the server. The requested method is not supported by the server. The requested method is not supported by the server, and it cannot handle it. And it cannot handle it. And it cannot handle it, or it cannot handle it. Okay, so that is about 501. Next, 502, bad gateway. 502 stands for bad gateway. Just have to remember with the definition, that's more than enough. 502, bad gateway. 502, bad gateway. This error response comes when we are working with the payment gateway. When we are working with the payment gateway. When we are working with the payment gateway, and the response code has to be sent to the response code has to be sent to the required payment provider. The response code has to be sent to the payment provider server. Wait, stop it here. Can anyone read this once again?
the error response comes from when we are working with payment gateway and response code has to be sent to the payment provider something.
Okay, response code has to be sent to the payment provider company. Okay, so payment provider company. When it is not able to send the, when it is not able to send the, when it is not able to send the, when it is not able to send the requested response code, when it is not able to send the, when it is not able to send the, when it is not able to send the requested response status code, we will get this here. We will get the status code. We will get this status code. Okay. Next, 504. 503 is over. 502 is bad gateway, right? You have written. 503
503 is not over.
Yes, sir.
503 is service unavailable. Right up. 503 means service unavailable. Service unavailable. Service unavailable. Service unavailable. Service unavailable. Okay. When the server is not ready to handle the request, when the server is not ready to handle the request, we will get service unavailable. We will get service unavailable. Next, 504. Gateway timeout. 504. Gateway timeout. Gateway timeout. Gateway timeout. This error response is given. This error response is given when the server is acting as a gateway. When the server is acting as a gateway. When the server is acting as a gateway. When the server is acting as a gateway and cannot get the and it cannot get the responses in time and cannot get the responses in time and cannot get the responses in time cannot get the responses in time. So we get a status code as 504. Completed. Okay, now let's understand what do you mean by base URL. In the interview, recent interview, they've asked, okay, they have sent you, okay, somebody has attended the interview. They have asked, okay, so let me take an example. REQRES, or if I take Amazon application, Amazon.in. Under that, I want to get the mobiles under Redmi. I got this mobile. Okay, Redmi. Take this. I'll put it here. If you see here, this is AWS www.amazon.in. This is base URL. This is base URL. Under that, there is one resource called Redmi Start Rail Storage MediaTek. Okay. Under that, if I go, there are subfolders and there is one question mark. If you see here somewhere, you will get a question mark. Where is the question mark? Can anyone find it? Where is the question mark? Are you seeing one question mark here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let me take this entire request. I'll go to the Postman tool. Okay, so let me try here. It's opening. So let me choose this. Let me take this. After taking that, see here, automatically all the parameters came here. Keyword is there, mobile, okay, and then ID is there, then SRE specification, and then TH. Like these are all the keywords. Look at here, key and values. These are all the keywords, parameters. So in the interview, they will ask, what is base URL? What is path parameter? What is resource path? What is query parameter? This question they will ask you. So you should be aware of that. So now let's take a sample one. Let's take a sample one, REQ, RES, to understand. REQ, RES. REQ, RES.in. Go here. I'll take this. REQ, RES.in. So if I take this URL, so now what do you mean by base URL? In this, what is the base URL? Then I'll give a definition. So HTTP REQ.RES.in, from here to here, it's a base URL. It's a main starting point. And then next, resource path or endpoint, both are same. Means what are you trying to access? Endpoint is nothing but, let us say, /API /users. So this is an endpoint. Under this, you can write page equal to 2, or if you want all the users details, then you can fetch the details. Okay, /2 if you want to give only ID which is starting with the second user, ID starting with the third user, you can get it. So now here is the resource where I have kept endpoint. So now if I take a diagram, let us say big pen. So there is one server. Let me take it up. There is one big server. The server name is this. Okay, let's say HTTP REQ.RES.in. Okay, this is a base URL I can access. Inside this, I have kept many folders. Okay, there is a folder, okay, where I have kept API. So under this API, I have kept user related APIs. Like how you have a folder in your laptop, right? Same here, we will also have subfolders. Similarly, okay, so the courses details. Okay, there are multiple courses. Under that, okay, this is a data science related course, one folder. This is a testing course. This is one development course. Like that, subfolders will be there. If I want to access, first I should go to the main folder, and then I should go to the subfolder. Then I can access the content. In the same way here. So this is a main base URL, and then this is a resource path or endpoint. And then question mark page equal to 2, that is nothing but query parameter. That is nothing but query parameter. Let us say question mark page equal to 2. That is nothing but query parameter. Query parameter. Wherever you see the question mark, after question mark, whatever you have, those are all query parameters. Those are all query parameters. If you see this diagram, in this case, okay, we had one question mark in between somewhere. Okay, let me bring it up. Let me close this. If you see here, there was one question mark somewhere. Here, one question mark here. After that question mark, whatever you are seeing here, this is all query parameter. After question mark, whatever you see, that is query parameter. Before that, you will see the base URL, you will see the endpoint, and you will see the path parameter in between. How the path parameter looks like, that we will see now. And I'll come back here. I'll take one more sample. Just a second. Let us say I want to get some of, okay, let me write one request. Look at here. So I'll say https colon double slash pet store dot swagger, swagger, petstore.swagger dot io slash v2 version 2 slash pets slash find by status question mark. Let us say status is equal to available. Now in this, can anyone tell me what is query parameter, what is path parameter, where is the end point? Okay, if I see that, look at here. So whatever the question mark you have, right, this is query parameter. This one, petstore.swagger.io, this is base URL. This is base URL. And then here, slash v2 pets and all, right? This is, I can say, a resource path or endpoint. And this one only, right? You have a path, right? This is a path, resource path. Means if I want to access the particular resource, I have to use this v2 slash pets. Okay. So this is about a resource path or endpoint. And one more we will get, that is path parameter. We understood query parameter. And one more is path parameter, that we will understand with some live example, path parameter. So in Postman tool, which are all the parameters we have in the interview, they will ask. There are two parameters. One is query parameter, another one is path parameter. M-A-T-E-R. So this we will discuss. Now take down heading. Base URL. Base URL. Base URL. Base URL. Base URL. Base URL. It's like a host name or domain name. It's like a host name. It's a host name or domain name. It's a host name or domain name, full stop. Whenever we purchase any of the domain, and when we host it, whenever we purchase any domain, and when we host it, 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 it becomes a website. It becomes a website of that particular domain. It becomes a website of that particular domain. Website of that particular domain. Full stop. Website of that particular domain. Full stop. It becomes a website of that particular domain. Next slide. So usually the base URL, it will be ending with .com, .net, .in, etc. Usually the base URL, usually the base URL, usually the base URL, usually the base URL, usually the base URL will be ending with the .com, .net, .in, etc. Example, you take down this. Base URL is equal to https://reqrs.in. Completed? Only this one. REQRES. That's it. Don't write anything extra. Next, resource path heading. Resource path. Resource path. It is a path, resource path or endpoint. Both are same. Don't get confused. In the interview, they might ask, can you please tell me what do you mean by endpoint or what is resource path? Both are same. It is the path, full stop, a kind of a additionally, a kind of a additional directory structure. Directory means a folder. It is a path, full stop, a kind of additional directory structure of the web server. It's a kind of a additional directory structure of the web server. Directory structure of the web server that determines the path of the resource. That determines the path of the resource. That determines the path of the resource. Next, query parameter. Next heading, query parameter. A set of parameters, a set of parameters, a set of parameters, a set of parameters, a set of parameters which are attached to the end of URL, a set of parameters, a set of parameters which are attached at the end of a URL is called query parameters. A set of parameters which are attached to the end of URL is called query parameters. Is called query parameters. Full stop. They are appended to the URL. They are appended to the URL by adding a question mark. 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 Full stop. At the end of by adding question mark at the end of URL, you can write. They are appended to the URL by adding a question mark at the end of URL. Full stop. It works like a key value pair. It works like a key value pair. It works like a key value pair. Look at here. If you see here, if I go to the query parameter, whatever you're seeing here, query parameter, let me go to the first one, right? We were trying this. Amazon. See, key and value. CRID is a key and 1MT something is a value. So DIB is a key and this is a value. So DIB hyphen tag and SE. So this is a key and this is a value. So it works like a key and value will be assigned automatically. And see here also, after question mark, wherever you're seeing here, see CRID is equal to, it is saved as a question mark. After that, and is there. Then DIB is a key. And then EY is and all till here. Till and, if you till wherever you find and, that is key value pair. It is stored in the form of key value pair. Then you take down this till here, from beginning to till here, you take down that. Let me know once you complete it.
Done, sir.
Done? Okay. Next heading, path parameter. Right on. And example, look at here. So if I have this pet stagger slash v2 pets find by status and all is there, right? Inside that, let us say I have one resource, let us say resource, then say slash pet 103. So there is one curly brace which is present, 103, like that. Okay. So inside this URL, wherever you see the curly brace, and this curly brace, open curly brace and close curly brace, which is present before the question mark. See, after question mark, whatever you have, that is query parameter. But before the question mark and after the base URL, like petstore.swagger.io, after that, whatever you see in between, one curly brace will be there, open curly brace and close curly brace. This I call it as path parameter. I call it as path parameter. So these are all a set of data within a curly braces. Path parameters are placed within the path of the endpoint. So this is endpoint from v2 to till find by status. This is the endpoint. From till to here, it's an endpoint. It is placed within the path of endpoint just before the query parameter. Like after, like you know, right? There is a question mark before that, just before the query parameter string. So why they are using this is for developers to parameterize the APIs in an effective way. So that's the reason they will be using it for development purpose. Okay, now write down. path parameter or template parameter. Both are same. Path parameter or template parameter. Path parameter or template parameter. Path parameter or template parameters. It is a set of within a curly braces set of set of within a curly braces braces curly braces comma path parameters are placed within the path of an endpoint 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 just before the query string just before the query string and they will provide the developers to do they will provide the developers to wait they will help the developers, right? And they will help the developers to do the effective way of parameterization, and it will help the developers to do the effective way of parameterization of the resources effective way of parameterization of resources effective way of parameterization of resource. So the meaning is, so in future I want to change this, I want to make it as 104 or I want to make it as 205. So they can parameterize and accordingly they will see the output. Okay, take down this entire URL and then in that you just highlight this one is path parameter. So tomorrow onwards, we'll start with the practical stuff. Before that, you need to download Postman tool in your laptop. I will send you the URL. Completed?
Yes, sir.
Yes, okay. Fine. So tomorrow before you come to the class, just go to Kiosk. So this website. Postman tool. Okay, it is getting downloaded. Yeah. Just go to QScircle softwares. In that you have a option Postman. Just click here, it gets downloaded. You can download it from here, or so I just integrated that. So which is available here, Postman download. Postman download for Windows. From here also you can go here and then you need to download that. So this app, or sorry, not this one. So you need to go here and you need to click on this. So this URL I just integrated to this. Just click here, it gets downloaded automatically. Okay, fine then. See you tomorrow. Before you come to the class, install and sign in with your email ID and password. Save that username and password. In future also, you will be using same Postman tool. So don't forget that username and password. Stop it.